welcome to the Habits and Home Show. I'm your host, Lisa Lazat, and I help busy moms bring order to their homes by downsizing and decluttering and ditching old habits in exchange for systems that bring peace and more enjoyment to their lives. If you're a mom trying to show the love of Jesus to your family, but the clutter in your home keeps you overwhelmed and frustrated, you have come to the right place. On this podcast, you will hear easy, step-by-step tips to declutter and create systems so you can keep your home organized and finally walk in the peace God has promised you. Need some accountability? I've got you covered there too. Join the Accountability Club, a community of like-minded mamas decluttering and systemizing our homes together. Are you ready, friend? Let's get started. Hey friends, and welcome back to the Habits and Home Show. I'm so glad you're here. And if you're at home, I want to gently encourage you to pick up something small to work on while you listen. Maybe you can clear off a kitchen counter or tidy up a corner that you've been ignoring. It always helps to have a little voice in your ear cheering you on. And speaking of encouragement, today I have a special guest joining me. It's one of my coaching clients, Tisha. She's here to share her journey of how decluttering and setting up systems in her home has helped her life. You're going to love hearing how she's made real progress in a way that works for her life. Tisha, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for having me.
Let's start by getting to know you a little bit more. Can you
Mhm.
share about your family and what a typical day looks like in your home right now?
I am married and have 4 children, and we homestead, homeschool. I'm very active in our church, so we live very, very busy lives. Even in the summer when school is a little bit lighter, my kids are doing extracurricular activities, and we're here, there, and everywhere. So
Yeah, and what are the ages of your kids?
they are 13 down to 6.
So you reached out to me to get a little help to declutter, get clarity
Mhm.
over your system. So what did your home feel like or look like before? Because,
Mhm.
everybody's level of chaos or level of clutter looks different. But how did it
Mhm.
feel to you? What did it look like in your home for you?
For me, it was just so overwhelming. And I think that was internal and external. I just felt like we functioned, like we could get ready, get out the house. But it was like barely. We were constantly running late. I constantly felt like I had so many things to manage and was dropping everything. Things were not in order the way that I wanted them to be, but also I just felt like I had so much going on in my head, like just
Yeah.
mentally.
You talked about the internal disorder and the external
Mhm,
disorder. Let's take both of those separately. The
mhm,
internal disorder, you said you
mhm.
had a lot going on in your head. Could you envision what your ideal even looked like during that time?
Could, but I couldn't envision how to get there
Yeah.
because I knew that decluttering was something that I needed to do. Like I've had like pockets of tearing everything out and decluttering. So I know it felt good. And, I even recognized like when my external space was clear, that internally I just felt like I could function a little bit better.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, like it's like I knew I needed to declutter. I knew I needed to take steps to get to this place, but I didn't know how. And so
Right.
I kind of felt stuck and felt like, I had all the head knowledge. I binge watched so many videos and just, read books and, tried this, tried that. But it's like, okay, but I'm still here in this spot. And inside, I couldn't just figure out, like, well, what step do I take now to get towards that place where I want to be? Mhm.
What made a difference having someone do it with you?
Having a buddy, like having a friend. Like I know when I first came across your program, one of the things that you said was like, we're going to become besties for these next 8 weeks. And I thought that sounds so fun, like a
Yeah.
friend to walk through this process. Because if I can be honest for a second, having things in your home like not in order and not the way you want them to be, it kind of puts you in a place of like shame and
Yeah.
a place of like nobody's coming into this space,
Yeah.
like both literally and figuratively. Like it's just I want to figure this out and then, I can bring a friend with me in this process kind of thing. But I think something about what you said about doing this together. And one of the things you said too in the beginning is like, don't be, no shame here. Your
Mm-mm.
mess is not my mess. I'm no judgment. And even
Mhm.
just like that first call of like, oh my goodness, I'm going to show you like what my situation is right now.
Yeah.
And there was no judgment and just the freedom in that, like it just opened things up for me to be like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. Like, okay, yes, it could use some order, but it's not like the end of the world. So it just
Yeah.
slowly began to chip away at like those feelings of shame 'cause I even
Yeah.
feel like shame, like, it just holds us back. Like, we
Preach,
wanna get
girl.
better,
Preach.
but,
Yes.
like, we're stuck over here by ourselves and we can't do it alone. So I think that was huge for me just having you to do this with me.
Yeah.
It showed me that I was capable of doing it.
Anytime that anyone brings up the word shame, it reminds me of a Bible study that we talked about shame, and I felt like I had this spiritual download. I was like chewing on it and meditating on it during our Bible study. And I just said, okay, I just feel like I need to share this. And I feel like what the Lord revealed to me, we have in our mind this standard, and the shame is us not meeting that standard that we
Mm,
have set. And when
mm,
we don't live up to that standard, whatever it is, and shame comes in when we are below that standard or we don't match up. And on the outside, healthy people that are in our life, not toxic people, because toxic people will say, "Yes, girl, we're going to kick you down that you are not meeting this standard." But the healthy
mhm,
people in our life will say, "Girl, that standard is bogus. That standard is
mhm,
not realistic, and
mhm,
there's no shame. The shame is something that we project onto ourselves because we're not living
mhm.
up to this standard that we have created for ourselves." So I love that you
That's
mentioned,
so good.
I think it's really important for us to get around healthy people,
Mm,
people that can speak into our life and say, "Girl, that standard is just something you're making up." However, I do think if life is feeling chaotic, let's push towards something better for
yep,
yourself, but not this unrealistic standard that is causing you shame. And I think that's what we did together, is that it was
yes.
this slow and gentle approach to your home. I know that, like, even in your bedroom, I think we took like 3 sessions to do your bedroom, maybe 2 extra sessions to do your closet. It was very
Mhm,
slow, very methodical, and there was a lot of grace in that, right? So out of everything, okay, so since our time working together, I know that life is probably not perfect. I do not expect life to be perfect. You're not going to like show us, these perfect, picture perfect zones or anything. But the work that happens during our time, I would say 90% of the work happens internally and like
mhm,
10% happens externally, or maybe 50-50, right? So I want to
mhm.
talk about what are some of the shifts that you have noticed in your mindset and the way you approach things or see things. What are some of the shifts that you have noticed in maybe your routines, your spaces, and your mindset since our time working
Mhm.
together?
The biggest one I can think of is that when I go to declutter, the perfectionism that I had, you probably remember, I was like, "But I need to give that to Susie, and I need to give that to Michelle." And you're like, "Girl, get it out." And I'm like, "You know what? You're right." Because that was
Yes.
always my hang up is like, I wanna get it to the right person. I wanna not waste it. Maybe I could sell it or maybe this. And you tell me, "Okay, you got 2 weeks to sell it. If it's not sold, you're donating." I'm like, "Okay, I'm getting it sold." And so that really helped me because honestly, that would be the thing in my mind. I was like, okay, I know it's got to be just right when I go to sit down and declutter for 5 hours that I'm probably never going to have, where I would never get started.
Yeah.
And it would just create more overwhelm. And
Yeah.
so that's probably the biggest one that comes to mind is that when I go to declutter, I just think it has to go. It's just
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
And we would put it in the bag. And I remember you would say, pray and release, pray and release. And so that comes to mind like, okay, I'm going to put it in the bag for Goodwill. I'm going to pray and release, and the right person is going to get it at a good
Yeah.
deal. And so
Yes.
that keeps me moving and, doing a little here, a little there. And then even I remember like getting the bag out the house. That was another huge thing. Like, okay, I got this big bag and it has to go to Goodwill, and soon it's like 2 and 3 and 4 bags. Like you'd say, okay, load it up and we're gonna get it out today. And I'd say, okay, we're gonna do it. And so I
Yes.
have days like that where I'm like, okay, the bags, they're not gonna continue to grow. They're going in the trunk and I'm dropping them off right after church because Goodwill is right next to church and it's done.
Yes. No
So
excuses. Yes. I love that.
absolutely.
I think for some people, they too have that same mindset is they're getting rid of good stuff and they don't want to necessarily waste it. 95% of the stuff that you're getting out of your home is not going in the trash. It's going
Mhm,
in a donation bag and it's not being wasted. It's going to somebody. You're almost like putting it up on the shelves for someone to take notice of it who has maybe been looking for it. And so you're
mm,
not being wasteful when you just bag it up and you donate it. You don't always have to see the person that you're giving it to or know
mhm,
somebody who needs it, especially when you're in this state of overwhelm and just
yep,
stuck. I say bag it up, put it right in your trunk
mhm,
and drop it off right away. We also talked about a little bit. We did a lot more decluttering with your sessions than we talked about systems and routines and stuff like that. But are there
mhm,
any systems that maybe we talked about or have developed since
mhm.
our time together that are working really well in your home?
The children's rooms.
Okay.
Those are the rooms that are like, we're not going in there. Um, Man, so I really loved what you shared about how you manage your kids' rooms, how you have a system for laundry and calling them down. They do their laundry once a week. And so I kind of adopted that. My kids and I, we do this thing where for the days of the 5-day week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I assign that day to a kid, and I usually do that to like spend some extra time with that child on that particular day. And so it clicked after you shared what you shared, that I could just add in, like, okay, this is the day that I check in about your laundry. And also, because this was another thing that kept like just hanging me up, was like I didn't want to clean their room, but when I would tell them to clean their room, they wouldn't quite get it done just right, you know? So
Mm-hmm.
it was this hybrid thing that developed where it's like, okay, well, on your day, I'm going to check in on your room and almost like reset it. Whether I do
Mm-hmm.
it with
Yep.
them, for the younger ones or for the older ones, like, okay, I'll let you clean and then I'll come in and just kind of glance and glaze
Yeah.
over and just pick up any loose ends. But that has worked really well,
Yeah.
especially in my son's room. It just really keeps everything from just going way off on the deep end, and I
Yeah.
love that, like, I really loved, and you did this a few different times, where you would just give examples from your own life, and it almost, like, gave me a picture of, like, what
Yeah.
could be, and it's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, wow, I never thought of that," and yeah, that happened several times with several different things, but that's just one example.
It is nice because not all of us have grown up in an example home of what our ideal is, and so it's hard to connect the
Mhm,
dots sometimes. I'm not saying that I do it perfectly by no means, but having an example, really painting that picture and what could this look like if I have the
mhm,
systems or have my kids reset their room? And that's the good thing about community. You get to share different ideas with people. But I love that. Oh, what I was going to say is there are some people that all they need is just a little bit and they run with it. Okay.
mhm,
You might see in, you have 4 children. So you might see in maybe one of them or two of them that they don't need
mhm,
much hand holding. They can just take a little instruction and run with it. And you can
mhm,
trust them. You know that they're going to do a good job. But there are our other children or other people in our life that they need more one-on-one
mhm,
hand holding. And that's what I find with a lot of my clients is they like decluttering with me because in this specific task, it's helpful to have that hand holding. So I want us to understand that maybe we need this as adults, but I think also our children. And so I think sometimes moms, they get frustrated with their kids because they say, "Hey, go clean your room." And
Mhm.
these kids are off on their own, having to do it on their own, and they are just like us, completely shut down,
Right.
overwhelmed. One thing I think, we have overwhelmed their space and
Mm.
their capacity to manage that space. But secondly, I think they're still in the we do phase. When you're training
Mm.
a child to do any kind of routine or habit or task, you stay in that phase for a long, long,
Mhm.
long
That's
time.
so good.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, it's so true. But we want to speed up the process because we're busy. And let me just tell you, a slower life is going to lead to so much more peace. You're going to have greater health. You're going to stress
Mhm.
less. Maybe there's some things that people have to weed off of their to-do list or off of their responsibilities just so they can slow down and take the training of their children a little bit slower, because that we do phase lasts a
Yeah.
really long time. And then they eventually, I mean, the ultimate goal is for our children to be autonomous and
Mhm.
live in the you do phase where they can do it completely on their own.
Yeah.
Looking back on our time together, what would you say was the most beneficial? Maybe it's a space that you enjoy now a lot more.
Yeah, hands down, I would say the basement. It's like a blank slate. There were lots of papers, like it was kind of like an office, but we talked about even just changing it more into like a kid teen space. And so that's actually the space I'm sitting in now. So it feels like a secluded, like quiet space. And yeah, I was able to bounce ideas off of you for layout, and we
Yeah.
definitely got all the papers out. That was
Yes,
huge. That was
we
huge.
did. We worked on the paperwork. Did you end
Yes.
up moving your office? Because we talked about giving the kids a hangout spot completely to
Mhm.
themselves, which I absolutely love when you have upcoming teenagers. Did
Mhm.
you get to move your desk into the hallway like we had planned?
Yes, I did. It's out there. Yes. We haven't started using it yet because we ended up getting a small table that ended up in the kitchen. And one
Okay.
day my husband started using it up there. And so that's become that spot. But it has the desk in the space. It's probably 80% ready for us
Okay.
to do that. But
Okay.
yeah.
Would you say
Mhm.
that it would be one of your next goals is to follow through on 100%, make that your home office?
I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could do that.
That's awesome. And how are the kids enjoying the hangout space downstairs?
They love it. I had to kick them out to do our call. They've had friends over. Yeah, there's like a TV down here and their game console, and then I use it when I do my calls. So it's great. They love it.
I
I love
love
it.
that. We're going to talk about our routines and our resets. So I'm not
Mhm.
sure. I know we covered these a little bit during our time coaching together. So I want to ask you, because we went over daily, weekly, monthly, and our yearly reset. That's something that I teach my clients and our members inside the accountability club. So I'm going to ask you, and it's okay to say you don't, but do you
Okay.
have a weekend reset or a week reset routine in place?
Honestly, I do not, and
Okay.
I'm feeling it. We have one by default because that's one thing that I've like begun to recognize is like I'm always like, "Oh, I need a routine. I need this. I need that." I have a routine, but I want a better routine. I want a more streamlined, like a more, what's the word? Like a quicker turnaround in my routine. So
Yes,
like
girl.
the routine we have currently is like when things get to a certain level of like, I don't want to say chaos, but certain level of like, okay, now is the time, then we'll rally together and we'll bring it back and we'll reset it. But I would love to have like a weekly reset,
Mhm,
even the
mhm.
daily reset, because I feel like that will just be better. Like that's the goal. That's where I
Yeah,
wanna be.
let's talk through that right now. We'll do a little
Mhm,
coaching session right now. Let's talk about the
mhm,
daily and the weekend reset.
okay.
What one activity, one task, if you had this done prepped, set out, written out, or whatever it is, if you did this one task before Monday, that your week
Mhm.
would go so much better. What would you say that one task is?
Probably meal planning.
Ding, ding,
Mhm.
ding. That's usually the most. I'm going to write
Yep.
these down for you so I can text them to you later. Okay, so meal planning. Okay. Now the next one, number two, because we're only going to do
Mhm.
three. I had
Okay.
somebody in our accountability club. She said, "Should I keep adding, like keep stacking on
Mm,
new tasks to my weekend reset?" And I said, "It sounds like a good idea, but I would say no." Because what you're going to
mm,
do is you are going to forget about the other things, and you're going to
mm.
create this long list, and you're going to be
Yep.
overwhelmed. So, what we want is our weekend reset to evolve and to grow with us as a person. So, once you know, like once you're doing something and it is completely no brainer, you just do it automatically. You're not even thinking about it, but you're doing it each and every weekend. I would say that is when it's safe to move that one off your like official list, and
Mhm.
it has just now become habit, right?
Okay.
That's how our resets can grow, and we can eventually get more things done because
Mhm.
we are focusing on just three at a time, getting really good at
Mm,
those three, maybe moving one off every once in a while, replacing it with something else, but while maintaining the other one that has
mhm.
become habit. Okay. So, what would you
Okay.
say is another task? If you didn't think about it all week, but you thought about it and you did it on the weekend, what would that other task be?
Really get my room, like my bedroom reset,
Okay. Okay.
because I find that when the week gets going, I just don't think about it. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, with it being my space, I know that when my room is in order, then I'm again like my mind is clear. I'm able to think more clearly and have a better day, better week. So probably
Love
like
that.
get my room.
Because what did they say? The state of the room is the state of your mind, and vice versa. The
That's
state
good.
of the mind is the state of your room. So I think they can
Wow.
go hand in hand. So I love that we're
Mhm.
adding this to your list because like you just said, when my room is organized, I show up better. So I love that.
Mhm.
All right, what's the last item? If you did this
Mm.
task every weekend, it would set you up for like Monday, Tuesday, the ball is rolling, and you are so glad you did this, and to take care of yourself over the weekend. Like, what would that item be?
Maybe my laundry.
Okay, all
My
right. So is it
maybe. Is that a good one?
everybody's laundry or just your laundry?
Just mine.
Just yours. Okay, so I'm gonna say
Yeah.
Tisha's laundry. Have you not given
Yeah.
yourself a day?
I don't.
Girlfriend,
Yeah.
see,
Just
that's
I
when
get
that I feel like this holding place is kind of being wasted, because if you were to give yourself a day, it would not become a part of your weekend reset ritual. It would just be your day to do laundry. So I'm going to leave it on there for
Okay.
now. But my encouragement for you is to add you onto the laundry schedule, to give yourself a
Mhm.
day, and so that you open up this free space for a different item for your weekend reset. Okay, let's go into the daily reset and then we're going to wrap it up. Okay, what would you
Okay.
say if you did this one thing every night when you wake up the next morning? You're going to thank yourself, like, good job, Tisha. High five. Thank you for doing that last night. What would that item be?
That's a tricky one because there's a few. But
Oh,
probably like pull my clothes out, maybe?
okay. So pick out your
Maybe.
clothes. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's another thing? Is that something that's hard, that's hanging you up the next morning, and you're like, if you already had it done, you would just be hitting the ground running? Like, is that something that hangs you up in the morning time?
Yeah, a little bit. Um, but I mean, the things I'm thinking of are like the things that kind of slow me down with like getting started in the morning. So
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
a lot of times like my phone, maybe that's a good one, like putting that like to bed. Like
Putting your
putting
phone to
that
bed.
away and putting that somewhere, making sure
Hmm.
my alarms are set and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is it in the morning time, your phone is like distracting you, you pick it up, check your email or you get a text message and before you know it, you're supposed to be getting out of bed and being awake before the kids, but you've been scrolling on social media. Is that kind of what's
hmm
happening?
That's exactly it. Yep.
Would you say docking your phone or putting your phone to bed, put it like everybody getting their phones, putting it on the charging station, would that be a part of your daily reset, would you say?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
hmm
And remember, we can always change it and evolve. What would you say is one more thing to focus on in the evening? If you took care of this task, what would it be?
Probably the dishes.
Okay. I'm surprised you
Yes.
didn't say that first.
Yes.
I know for me, if I am I used to shoot myself in the foot. I would say, I'm too tired. I deserve to go to
hmm
bed. No, what I deserve is to wake up to a clean kitchen and a good morning. That is what I deserve. I don't deserve my yesterday's
hmm
leftovers. I used to
Yes.
say, and I want you to repeat this to yourself, I am my own best friend. So, what would a best friend do for you? Well, she would clean your kitchen before you go to bed so that you wake up to a clean kitchen in the morning.
Oh, it's so good.
Now, let's wrap up. And I would love for you to share if you could tell one mom who felt like you felt before going through this process, decluttering her home, what would you say to her?
Yeah, I would encourage her that you can do it. There is hope. There is that light at the end of the tunnel, if you will. Definitely reach out. Lisa's program is amazing. I would say do it, do it, do it. It's worth every penny. I'm literally like sitting in the results of that time. I would have never envisioned my space to be this. I really mean that. And Lisa's going to be real with you. She called me on a few of my excuses a couple of times, and it was exactly what I needed to hear and exactly what I needed to like get me moving forward.
Sweet but spicy.
Yes.
Well, it has been so good having you on, Tisha, and thank you so much for sharing your story.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Lisa.
All right, friend. I hope you enjoyed that conversation that I had with Tisha. And if you can relate to her story, maybe you're feeling frustrated in your home. Maybe you're feeling stuck. Maybe you need a decluttering buddy, like she mentioned. I want to invite you to do a coaching consultation with me. On that call, we'll just talk about the goals that you have and how I can help move you towards achieving those goals in your home. If you're interested in doing some one on one coaching, you can find the link below to schedule a consultation with me. All right, friends, I will see you right here next time on the Habits and Home Show. Hey friend, before you go, I wanted to tell you more about the Accountability Club. Each month, we'll tackle a new space in our homes and work together to declutter and set up systems so we can easily maintain order without getting overwhelmed. You'll get a new decluttering tutorial each month, the coaching and accountability you need to actually follow through, and encouragement without judgment from other Christian moms in a safe environment. And guess what? The entire club is off of social media, so you don't have to worry about distractions the world may throw at you. Sweet friend, if you're feeling stuck in your decluttering journey, this is the place for you. Click the link below to try out the Accountability Club and start decluttering today.